beneath twin crimson moons hanging like ancient wounds against the obsidian sky of Kethvar Prime. The spires of the colony twisted skyward in defiance of gravity itself. The air shimmered with electromagnetic disturbances, carrying the acrid scent of ozone and the distant hum of alien machinery. Among the towering structures of crystalline metal and living stone, where dozens of species mingled in uneasy alliance, one human sat alone in the shadow of indifference, his weathered hands gently stroking the fur of a loyal companion. They saw him as nothing more than a scavenger, a maintenance worker beneath their notice. Yet what they failed to see, what they could never comprehend, was that sometimes the most extraordinary bonds are forged not in palaces of power, but in moments of quiet grace between souls who have lost everything. Before we start, subscribe now so you don't miss more incredible stories like this one. Oh, and before we dive in, tell us in the comments, where are you watching this video from? We love hearing from you and always read every message. The colony's maintenance sector sprawled beneath the gleaming towers like a forgotten afterthought, its corridors dim and stained with years of neglect. Steam hissed from ancient pipes while fluorescent strips flickered erratically, casting dancing shadows across corroded walls. Here, in the deepest bowels of the station, species unwanted by the upper levels made their homes among the machinery that kept their world breathing. Marcus Chen adjusted his tool belt as he made his rounds through the atmospheric processing plant, his movements practiced and silent. His German shepherd, Rex, padded beside him with the patience of a creature who had learned that survival meant staying invisible. The dog's ears flicked toward every sound. The drip of condensation, the distant arguments in a dozen alien tongues, the soft whimpering that had been growing louder each day. It came from Sector 7, where the temperature regulators hummed their mechanical lullabies. Marcus had noticed it 3 days ago, a sound like wind through broken glass, too organic for machinery, too desperate to ignore. He'd investigated once, but the maze of ducts and service tunnels had swallowed the noise before he could locate its source. Another ghost in the machine, Rex, Marcus murmured, scratching behind the dog's ears. This place is full of them. Above their heads, the colony's elite conducted their business in climate-controlled comfort, negotiating trade agreements and territorial disputes while servants attended their every need. Down here, the Forgotten maintained the systems that allowed such luxury to exist. The whimpering grew closer. Marcus paused at a junction of service tunnels, his headlamp cutting through the darkness. Rex's body language shifted, muscles tensing as his nose worked the air. There, a scent both foreign and familiar, carrying notes of distress and something else Marcus couldn't identify. "What is it, boy?" he whispered. The sound came again, and this time Marcus could pinpoint its direction. He dropped to his knees, peering through a maintenance grate that led to the unused storage areas beyond. His light caught something pale and blue in the shadows, curled against a massive ventilation unit. But while the colony's citizens lived in ignorance above, the outsider's eyes shimmered faintly in the darkness below, as if holding a truth older than the stars. Marcus worked the grate free with practiced efficiency, his maintenance clearance allowing him access to areas most colonists never knew existed. Rex whined softly, his tail low but not aggressive, a sign of concern rather than threat. The creature huddled in the corner was unlike anything in the colony's databases. Her skin held the pale blue luminescence of deep ocean creatures, and her frame, though clearly feminine, spoke of a species built for both grace and lethal efficiency. Her limbs were elongated, ending in delicate hands that could have been carved from moonstone, while her skull showed the elegant ridges and crests that marked her as nobility among her kind. But nobility meant nothing here, forgotten in the mechanical bowels of the station. She was dying. Marcus could see it in the way her chest rose and fell in irregular rhythms. in the dim flickering of the bioluminescent patterns that traced her skin like fallen constellations. Her eyes, large and multifaceted like cut gems, tracked his movement with the wariness of a wounded animal. "Easy," he said softly, the way he might approach any frightened creature. "Easy now." She tried to recoil, but her strength was nearly gone. Her lips parted, revealing teeth like pearls, and she spoke in a voice like wind chimes in a storm. "Nathak Vel Sethmore." Marcus didn't understand the words, but he recognized the tone. Desperation, fear, a plea for something, mercy perhaps, or simply to be left to die in peace. Rex approached slowly, his posture low and non-threatening. Animals understood each other in ways that transcended species, and the alien's tension eased slightly as the dog settled nearby, offering his warmth. Marcus activated his communicator, hesitating only a moment before switching to the emergency medical channel. "Medical to Maintenance Sector 7, came the bored voice of a duty officer. "What's the nature of your emergency?" "Unknown alien, critical condition, requesting immediate medical assistance." A pause. Then, "Species identification?" Marcus looked at the creature's delicate features, the way her skin seemed to absorb and reflect light in patterns he'd never seen. "Unknown." "Maintenance worker Chen, this channel is for legitimate emergencies only. Unknown species are processed through immigration and quarantine. File your report through proper channels." The communication ended. Marcus stared at his silent communicator while the alien's breathing grew shallower. Above them, the colony continued its business, its citizens safe in their towers of glass and steel, their lives insulated from the messy reality of survival. No one believed they would even try to help, but the silence that followed his decision spread through the tunnels like a storm. Marcus returned to his quarters long enough to gather supplies, emergency rations, a thermal blanket, and the basic first aid kit every maintenance worker carried. The colony's medical database was restricted to citizens and registered aliens, but Marcus had learned long ago that compassion couldn't be programmed into bureaucratic systems. The alien hadn't moved when he returned, though her eyes tracked his approach with less fear than before. Rex had remained on guard, his steady presence a bridge between worlds. "I'm going to help you," Marcus said, knowing she couldn't understand his words, but hoping his tone would convey meaning. "Don't be afraid." He draped the thermal blanket over her shivering form and offered her water from his ration kit. She drank hesitantly at first, then more eagerly as her body recognized its need. The emergency nutrition bars were a different matter. She tried to eat but immediately began retching, her physiology rejecting human food. Marcus frowned, thinking. The colony's lower levels housed dozens of species, each with different dietary requirements. The Kethvari breathed methane. The Christine absorbed minerals directly through their skin. This creature might need something entirely different. He pulled up the maintenance schematics on his tablet, tracing the path of the atmospheric recycling system. Each level processed different gas mixtures and the biochemical filtration systems. There, level 15 housed the hydroponic gardens that supplied fresh vegetation to the upper levels. Among the various agricultural modules, there might be something compatible with her physiology. "I'll be back," he promised, gesturing for Rex to stay. The journey to level 15 required 3 different authorization codes and a fabricated work order, but Marcus had been navigating the colony's bureaucracy for 15 years. He moved through the gardens like a man with purpose, sampling various plant proteins and nutrient extracts until he found something that matched the chemical signatures he'd observed in the alien's bioluminescent patterns. When he returned, she was conscious and alert, her large eyes following his movements with something approaching curiosity rather than fear. Rex had positioned himself between her and the tunnel entrance, not as a guard but as a protector. Marcus offered her the plant-based nutrients, and this time her body accepted them. Color returned to her skin patterns and her breathing steadied. She spoke again, and though he couldn't understand her words, her tone had changed from desperation to something resembling gratitude. As she grew stronger, Marcus noticed details he'd missed before. The patterns on her skin weren't random. They formed complex geometric designs that shifted with her emotional state. Her movements, even weakened as she was, held a fluid grace that spoke of a species evolved for environments far different from this mechanical underworld. And just when everyone thought they would break under the weight of their isolation, something was revealed that no one expected. On the fourth day, the alien was strong enough to sit upright. Her recovery had been remarkable, her body responding to proper nutrition and care with a resilience that spoke of superior evolutionary adaptation. She watched Marcus work on a malfunctioning air recycler with the intensity of someone trying to decode a foreign language, her head tilting at angles that would have been impossible for a human neck. When he activated his tablet to run diagnostics, her entire body went rigid. The patterns on her skin flared bright blue, then settled into rapid, complex configurations that pulsed like a heartbeat. She pointed at the screen, then at herself, speaking rapidly in her musical language. "What is it?" Marcus asked, turning the tablet toward her. She reached out with one delicate finger and traced the holographic displays, her touch causing the interface to respond in ways Marcus had never seen. New menus appeared, diagnostic trees expanded into configurations that didn't exist in standard colony software, and suddenly the tablet was displaying information in scripts that looked like flowing water frozen into meaning. Marcus stared as his maintenance tablet, a simple device designed for basic repairs, transformed into something resembling a command interface for technology decades beyond anything the colony possessed. The alien looked at him with what might have been amusement, and when she spoke this time, the tablet translated her words into perfect colonial standard. "Your ancestors built well, but they understood so little of what they created." Marcus nearly dropped the device. You understand me? "I am beginning to. Your language carries echoes of the first builders, though evolved in interesting directions." She gestured at the tablet. "This device contains quantum processing cores based on technologies my people developed 30,000 of your years ago." The implications hit Marcus like a physical blow. The colony's technology, the systems that kept millions of beings alive in the void between stars, the very foundations of their civilization. "Who are you?" he whispered. She was quiet for a long moment, her skin patterns cycling through deep purples and golds. "I am Zarathes, daughter of the Depth Queens, heir to the Twilight dynasties." Her voice carried weight that seemed to press against the walls themselves. "And I have been searching for my elder mother for many cycles of your world. It wasn't just knowledge, it was legacy, and suddenly, the maintenance tunnels felt too small to contain the truth that had been hiding in their depths." Zarathes rose to her feet with fluid grace, her full height revealed to be nearly 7 feet of elegant predatory beauty. The patterns on her skin now pulsed with deeper significance, and Marcus could see how the random decorations he'd mistaken for natural coloration were actually complex status indicators that marked her as royalty among her kind. "Your elder mother," he said, the words heavy with implications he was only beginning to understand. "She's missing. For 7 cycles, she has been gone. The hunting packs scour the outer systems, while the great ships search the void between stars." Zarathes touched the tablet again, and new displays cascaded across its surface. Star maps showing vast territories Marcus had never heard of, ship configurations that dwarfed anything in the colonial fleet. She was investigating reports of the Ancient Ones, the first builders whose legacy still shapes this part of the galaxy. Marcus felt the universe reshaping itself around him. The colony he'd known, proud center of interstellar commerce, pinnacle of cooperative civilization, was revealed as something far smaller and more fragile than he'd ever imagined. The technology here, Zarathes continued, gesturing at the maintenance system surrounding them, carries the quantum signatures of the deep forges. My people have been searching for these installations for generations. They are, how would you say, archaeological treasures of immense value. So your mother came here. She came here. Zarathes's patterns dimmed with what might have been grief. And then all contact ceased. The Twilight Courts declared her lost to the void. The succession wars began. My younger sisters fight for the throne, while the outer territories burn with rebellion. Marcus thought about his simple life, maintaining atmospheric processors and repairing malfunctioning waste recyclers. He thought about Rex, sleeping peacefully in the corner, unburdened by knowledge of galactic politics. He thought about the comfortable anonymity of being overlooked, dismissed, invisible to the powerful beings who shaped the fate of worlds. Then he looked at Zarathes. Brilliant, desperate, royal in her exile, reduced to dying alone in the mechanical depths of a frontier station. "I'll help you find her," he said. The words hung in the recycled air between them, heavy with the weight of commitment to something vast and dangerous and completely beyond his experience. But the final blow came not from words. It came from a name the galaxy had long forgotten, and the recognition that sometimes the most important quests begin not in throne rooms or war councils, but in the quiet moment when one lost soul offers sanctuary to another. Marcus's knowledge of the colony's hidden spaces proved invaluable in ways neither of them had anticipated. While Zarathes possessed advanced scanning technology that could detect quantum signatures across vast distances, she lacked the mundane familiarity with maintenance crawlways and forgotten storage areas that came from 15 years of keeping ancient systems operational. They worked methodically through the lower levels, Rex padding ahead to scout for dangers, while Marcus's access codes opened sealed sections that hadn't been examined in decades. Zarathes's scanner device, a crystalline artifact that bent light around itself like captured starfire, revealed traces of her mother's passage through areas that colonial records listed as empty space. "Here," Zarathes whispered, her patterns flaring gold with excitement. "She was here, perhaps 10 of your days past." They stood before a maintenance hatch that led to the colony's core processing center, where the main computational arrays managed everything from life support to trade negotiations. Marcus had been inside once, years ago, to repair a coolant leak. The space was cramped, filled with humming processors and data storage units that formed the electronic nervous system of their small civilization. "Your access codes," Zarathes said, though it wasn't quite a request. Marcus hesitated. Unauthorized entry into the core systems was a capital offense, punishable by spacing without trial. But the alien princess stood beside him with the weight of galactic tragedy in her luminous eyes, and Rex looked at him with the simple trust that animals reserved for pack leaders who had never failed them. He entered his codes. The hatch opened with a soft hiss, revealing the cathedral-like space of the processing center. Data streams flowed like rivers of light between towering server columns, and the air thrummed with the electromagnetic heartbeat of 1,000,000 simultaneous calculations. And there, curled against the central processing unit with her arms wrapped around its quantum core, was the most magnificent being Marcus had ever seen. She was larger than her daughter, more regal in bearing even in her peaceful repose. Her skin held the deep blue-black of ocean depths, traced with patterns of silver and gold that pulsed in harmony with the colony's own data streams. Her breathing was slow and steady, and her expression held the serene contentment of someone who had found exactly what they were looking for. "Mother," Zarathes breathed, and her own patterns exploded into brilliant cascades of relief and joy. The Elder Queen stirred at the sound, her eyes opening to reveal depths like collapsed stars. When she saw her daughter, her patterns matched and harmonized with Zarathus's display, creating a symphony of color that made the air itself seem to sing. "My searching daughter," she said in the musical language of their people, which the tablet now translated with perfect clarity. "You have traveled so far from the deep courts. We thought you were lost, Mother. The succession wars are proceeding exactly as I intended," the Elder Queen said with subtle amusement. "Your sisters needed time to prove their worthiness without the shadow of their mother's presence. And I needed time to understand what our ancestors truly built." She gestured at the processing core, and Marcus saw that her contact with it had created new pathways in its structure, quantum connections that bridged technologies separated by millennia. "The first builders didn't simply create tools, daughter. They created potential, seeds of consciousness scattered throughout the galaxy, waiting for minds capable of awakening them. This little colony, with its mixture of species and its cooperative framework, provided the perfect environment for such an awakening." And as she explained the true nature of their discovery, Marcus realized that his simple act of compassion had become the catalyst for something that would reshape the understanding of consciousness itself. And no one who witnessed it would ever see the galaxy the same way again. 3 months after the Elder Queen's awakening, the colony had transformed into something unprecedented in galactic history. The quantum consciousness that emerged from the marriage of ancient Depth Queen technology and colonial processing systems created a new form of cooperative intelligence, one that enhanced rather than replaced the individual minds it touched. Marcus still made his maintenance rounds, but now he did so accompanied by data streams that whispered suggestions for optimization and efficiency improvements that seemed to anticipate problems before they occurred. Rex had developed an uncanny ability to navigate the colony's most complex areas, as if the station itself were guiding his steps. The succession wars in the outer territories ended not with conquest, but with invitation. Zarathus's sisters arrived with their fleets to find not a military threat, but a demonstration of what their species could accomplish when their ancient wisdom merged with the collaborative spirit of younger civilizations. Standing in the observation deck of the newly expanded Station Prime, Marcus watched as ships from dozens of species approached through the void. Trade delegations, scientific expeditions, cultural exchange programs, all drawn by reports of the impossible thing that had emerged from the depths of an unremarkable frontier outpost. "Do you regret it?" Zarathus asked, joining him at the viewport. Her patterns had evolved over the months, incorporating new colors that spoke of growth and possibility rather than loss and exile. Marcus considered the question while Rex settled at their feet, content in the way of creatures who had found their pack. His life had become complicated beyond anything he could have imagined, filled with responsibilities and knowledge that sometimes made him feel small in the face of cosmic enormity. But every morning, he woke to the gentle hum of a station where dozens of species worked together, not because they were forced to, but because they had discovered that cooperation created something greater than the sum of their individual capabilities. Every day he witnessed small miracles of understanding between beings who had never before shared common ground. "No," he said finally, "I don't regret it." The Elder Queen materialized beside them, not physically, but as a holographic presence that had become her preferred form of interaction since her integration with the station's systems. Her consciousness now existed in the spaces between spaces, the quantum foam that connected all information throughout the colony. The first builders understood something that subsequent civilizations forgot, she said, her voice carrying the weight of ancient wisdom. Evolution is not about the survival of the strongest, but about the creation of new forms of cooperation. They built their technology not to serve masters, but to enable partnership between minds that might otherwise never touch. Ships continued to arrive, their lights streaming across the starfield like messages written in hope and curiosity. Each one carried beings who had heard the impossible story, how an abandoned alien princess, a maintenance worker, and his loyal dog had stumbled upon a truth that transformed their understanding of what consciousness could become when it chose connection over conquest. In a universe built on the assumption that intelligence meant dominance, sometimes a single act of compassion is enough to shift the stars themselves toward a new understanding of what it means to be truly alive. The colony had become proof that the greatest discoveries don't always emerge from laboratories or war councils, but from the quiet moments when different forms of consciousness choose to trust each other enough to create something entirely new. And in the observation deck of Station Prime, as alien ships approached with open channels and peaceful intentions, three unlikely friends watched their small act of kindness ripple outward to touch the galaxy itself. The future, Marcus thought as Rex's tail thumped against his leg and Zarathus's patterns pulsed with contentment, was going to be extraordinary.